We've got multiple things up and running here, everyone, so we're excited. All right, well, welcome in, everyone. This is social media updates that you need to know for August of 2025. So we have a lot for
Recording in
you.
progress.
Oh, thank you to whoever started the recording. Thank you. All right, and we're live, we're recording, we're on Zoom. We got a lot of tech going, so thank you all for bearing with us, and let's get into today's presentation. So first and foremost, for those of you who've never been to one of these updates, everything we covered today, we start with actionable content creation tips. So anything new that's been released by the platforms or confirmed, we're going to talk about those content tips so you can adjust your strategy accordingly. Then we talk about any updates like new features, things that are being tested, same thing so that you can kind of adjust your social media strategy. And then at the very end, we're going to go over 4 of the latest video trends that are pretty easy that you can then tailor to real estate or mortgage or your own content. And we'll show you kind of ideas for how to do that, talk through how the trend works, and then we'll jump right in. So for anyone who needs a content idea for today, we would love if you'd share your top takeaway or favorite moment from today's stream on LinkedIn. If you want to tag us, if you just want to share it or help us spread the word, we really appreciate it. Or you can always just comment and let us know what your favorite part of today was, what you found most helpful. It's always great feedback for us to know. Awesome. And for anyone who doesn't know, we're SocialCoach. Our whole platform is designed to help make social media and social selling simple with video tools like video scripts. We do video editing for you. We help with automated content scheduling so you don't have to post manually to every platform. We've got a lot of other built-in features for teams like segmented campaigns and compliance control. So if you don't know about us, but you want to know more, go ahead and comment and we'd be happy to give you more info. But now that you know who we are, let's get into it. So one of the most exciting and latest content tips released by Instagram isn't, again, anything new. This happens a lot where a lot of the platforms release things that we as SocialCoach have already been predicting and most creators already kind of know intuitively. But what I love about this is it's always really great to get the actual confirmation that this is true and it's not just a hypothetical. So what they released this week is Instagram was talking about here are the best types of content to be posting for different purposes. So if you're trying to reach new audiences, they confirmed that video, short form video, also known as reels, and carousels, which are multiple image posts, those are the top 2 formats for reaching new audiences. So we've mentioned this before. We talk about how video is more likely to get pushed out in feeds. And then carousels, I'm going to hit on a little bit more later in this presentation and talk about why carousels are a great way to follow up and mix in your content beyond video. Then the next type of engagement, so engaging your followers, which is right, people who are already following you, who maybe want to see more of what's on your feed, what you're already posting. That is places where you want to do more of your single photos and stories. So stories are the ones that appear at the top of the feed and they're live for 24 hours and then they disappear. So this is kind of giving you a good funnel of top of funnel engagement, right? Kind of getting that awareness. You're going to use your reels and carousels. Then to engage your followers, the carousels do well as, again, single photos and stories. I also think videos do really well for this too, because your followers already know your name, your face, and who you are. So I think they also love to see your videos, but I think reels are really great for growth, especially with the new audiences. And so these other content formats fit better into the bucket of kind of nurturing those existing followers. And then if you really want to go even further with nurturing your loyal followers, they recommend lives and channels, which channels is not a feature you can unlock until you've hit a certain number of followers. So that probably won't apply for most people, but you can use it kind of as a broadcast channel, kind of a way to share announcements or updates with people directly. But lives are something that I think are a bit of an untapped feature that I think more people could use. It's a great way to kind of get used to video. If you're like, oh, I don't like recording something and posting it on my feed permanently. A live is kind of like this, where it's almost like a live stream, right? So you're talking to your audience, they are chatting and commenting back, but then you are getting that interaction. And then once the live ends, it doesn't live anywhere permanently. So this is a great way, I say, if you're on a lunch break or if you have 10, 15 minutes in your day, you can jump on a live, you can pose a question, or you can start walking through real scenarios, kind of saying, hey, drop your credit score and let's walk through these 3 programs and compare them together. Or, you can get people to engage real time. And I think that if you practice doing that every so often, I've seen people say that when they stick with it, they can actually grow their audience really, really strongly. They're like, maybe I only have 10 people in this live, but they stay for the whole live, and then they follow me and they're super engaged because you're having that direct conversation. So I almost kind of think of it as like an initial consult call, where you want to get people on the phone for 15 minutes, 30 minutes. You can kind of treat a live like that. You're just walking through kind of more hypothetical scenarios to help illustrate points for people in ways that they may not know. Oh, I didn't know I could talk to a loan officer about that, or I didn't know a real estate agent could help me with that. So think of it kind of as like an advice session, but lives can be really great. Then now we're going to get into the carousels, more detail. So a lot of people know that carousels exist and that they're important, right? The multi-slide images, you probably see them all the time. But what I've learned a lot of people don't realize is that every time someone swipes on a carousel, so every time they swipe to see the next image, that counts as an interaction, and that helps boost your reach. So I think when we post like a single photo or image, we're like, okay, I did a post, but that's going to be a limited time interaction, right? Somebody's going to see the photo, read your caption. Maybe it takes them 5-10 seconds to read it, and then they move on. Whereas with a carousel, that every swipe, every extra couple seconds they're spending on your post helps boost your reach even further. So that's a really good thing to be aware of, and why carousels can be really valuable. The second thing about carousels, and this is the one I find most people don't realize, is you get 2 chances with every carousel to reach your audience. So the first time, right, just like any post, Instagram will show the first slide to your audience. And if they look at the slide, but they don't like the post, they don't interact with it, let's say they scroll, Instagram says, okay, maybe they didn't like that slide. But with a carousel, there's another option, right? There's multiple slides after that. So what Instagram will do is they'll wait a little bit, and then they will resurface the same carousel again at the top of that person's feed, but they'll show the second image instead of the first. So it's kind of like, hey, second chance. Maybe the title slide didn't make you want to swipe, but now that you're seeing the second slide, there's a little more information. Now you're suddenly interested and you're more likely to swipe through. So carousels give you 2 chances to appear in the feed, and you only have to post it the one time. So that's why it can be a really good strategy if you're going to mix up reels and videos with carousels, especially with more dense kind of education or information. Carousels are a great way to display that. And then lastly, the last trick that you can also do with carousels is if you add music to the carousel post, right? So it'll say, do you want to add music to this? Once you do that, it will actually start to push your carousel out as if it was a video. And so it will put it in the Reels feed. So if people are scrolling, watching videos, as long as your carousel has music, it will also show up for people that way. And then they're more likely to swipe through and see that there. So that will also help you boost your reach new audiences. So those are 3 tips for how to use carousels more effectively. And these are ones that I've learned people aren't always fully aware of, because we all know, right? Carousels take a lot of effort. I know it. It takes a lot of design, a lot of energy. So if you're going to do them, I would follow these tips to make sure you're getting the most out of each carousel, and it's really reaching those new audiences in ways that will help you.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here really quickly. If for our coaches and admins and enterprise clients, just know that we have redone a little bit of our posting capabilities. So now carousels are auto-posted. So add them to your campaigns. You can schedule them out on behalf of your users, and they don't have to do anything anymore. So I'm super, super excited about that, especially as we're seeing this resurgence of carousels and realizing how important they truly are. So if you haven't seen that email and you're a coach or an admin here at SocialCoach, check your email and reach out to support if you have any questions.
Definitely. So yeah, that's super exciting news that you can now schedule carousels for your team. They can go out and you can see how those are doing. So love that all these tips are coinciding. It feels like, just as usual, we're ahead of the game, and we tend to be kind of watching what the platforms are doing and anticipating those moves, and then they kind of confirm what we're thinking, which is my favorite thing ever. Just makes me
shout out to our engineering team for knocking that one out of the park.
They are the best ever. All right. So then the next update that we had confirmed by Instagram is, most people thought, there was a rumor going around that it was bad to say click the link in bio in your post. So if in your caption you were saying go click the link in my bio, or if in your video you were saying that call to action, there were people saying that they're like, Instagram's tracking when you say that and they're suppressing your video because they don't want people clicking links, so it's bad. Well, they came out and said that is not true. Okay, you can use a link in bio. They're not punishing you for that. And I think they do understand that, hey, sometimes when you want more resources or more information, that is a thing you need to go do, right? Go to the link in bio and see the information. So your posts are not going to be negatively impacted if you say link in bio. The one thing I will remind you is don't actually put a URL in your post captions. So on Instagram and Facebook, especially, they do not like links in your posts. On Instagram, they're not even clickable. So it's really not worth putting a URL in your caption because no one's going to take the time to go type that into a browser. So I would just say, hey, link in bio, or click the link on my profile, however you want to direct it there. I would make that easier. And then if you're on Facebook, don't put links in the posts at all. They have admitted that they do suppress it. So what I would do instead is kind of say, hey, drop a comment. If you want more info, I'll send you the link. And then you can do that either in the comments or in DMs. You can direct message them that link separately. So if you have more questions, if anyone wants help going over like how to add links into your profile or best practices for that, we cover that in week 1 of our SocialCoach Bootcamp, which did start this week. So if you want to catch our September session, we'll drop the link in the chat. And if you're on socials watching this live, you can comment Bootcamp and we will share that link with you. But we'd be happy for anyone to join. We go over a lot of different information, but optimizing your profiles is one of them. Awesome. And then the next announcement. So this was just something I wanted to put in here. I think it's really fascinating. AI search is taking over. And I would say last time we showed that daily searches for ChatGPT are still lower than I expected, right? There was a whole graphic we shared. Go ahead and watch the last session if you're interested. But new data has been showing that 77% of ChatGPT users in the US now use AI as a search engine. So that is a number just from the people who are using AI, right? So that doesn't mean 77% of everyone. But of the people using it, they are using it for search capability. And now nearly 1 in 4 Americans are saying that AI is their first stop for information. And to me, that one's way more shocking. That means, of the people on this call, there's at least 4 of us who are going and looking up ChatGPT before Google, before anything else, right? So I just want everyone to keep that in mind in terms of, we're going to talk through a little bit of how to tailor your content to be working for AI, to appear in those search results. But definitely know that Reddit is also the second most visited site in all of the US and the search traffic. So like Wikipedia is number 1, Reddit's number 2. So obviously people are using Google as the search engine, but forums where you have like a very solid question and then people answering it in a quick format, that's doing really well. And we'll go to the next slide and I'll show you why that's relevant. So when you are optimizing your content to appear in searches, what they found is a Q&A format works best. So instead of starting your videos and just kind of you still want to use a hook, right? We always talk about that in bootcamp, is starting with a hook. But if that hook can be a question that you're posing, you would want to state that question out loud or put it in text on screen so that you're saying, like, this is the question people are probably searching for, right? So how much down payment do I need to buy a home in California? That's a good question. It's really specific. You can put that on screen and then you answer that in your video. So that type of Q&A format, both in text posts, in blogs, in videos, in whatever format, if you're making it really easy for AI to go say, okay, someone asked me this exact question, let me go source a quick answer. If you have that brief answer, whether it's in video or a quick paragraph, the AI is going to be able to pull that in a lot more easily. So that's one way you can start optimizing your content, is definitely starting with a question and answering it, which in some ways to me is the easiest type of content to be making anyway, right? Taking the questions you hear from your clients every single week, write it down, and then turn each question into a video where you state the question and then answer it. That's a great way. It's nice and easy. You can stay consistent with content and it'll be helping you appear in those search results, both in AI and on Google and within the social media platforms themselves. And then the second part of showing up in AI is definitely keywords, right? Using the right keywords, using the right context so that when people are searching for things, you are presented as the expert. So in your profile of your social media platforms, I would make sure that those are optimized, have the right keywords, present you as the expert. And then on your websites and your blogs, making sure you're also saying, like, here's my expertise, here's where I'm located, here's what people come to me for help with. all of that information helps AI feel like, oh, you are a credible source. You're someone I can pull information from. And then when your content is supporting that, that's going to work together to help. So if you have questions about keywords, let me know. We covered a lot of that last session. So last month, it's on our YouTube if you want to find it. But we did a really in-depth thing of what keywords to be using, where to be putting them in your social media profiles. And that's also something we cover in bootcamp if anyone wants to join there. So lots of keyword information. You can find it all over our socials, but that's a great thing to be thinking about as AI gets more and more popular, especially for searching. And actually, on a last note there, I'll mention, I think today they're releasing ChatGPT 5.0 or something. Literally like an hour ago, they started a live stream and they're announcing a lot. So if you're someone who's really tuned into ChatGPT, I will be checking it out later. Definitely, I would recommend going and taking a look. Okay, other content tip. I just like to remind people, I've seen a lot more data supporting this, and silent engagement is becoming more and more dominant. And what I'd like to explain what this means is it's now getting harder to get people to comment. It's getting harder for people to actively engage and reach out. What we're seeing a lot more of is people messaging directly. So that's what we call a DM or a direct message. And we're seeing a lot more of sharing where they're like, oh, I just sent this to a friend, but I'm never going to comment on the video, but I'm still going to send it to someone if I found it valuable. So if you're someone who's feeling like, oh my gosh, it is so hard to get people to comment, you're not alone. Brands and other accounts are now seeing that they are replying to DMs 30 times more than they're engaging in comments. So if that helps you kind of say, okay, even the big brands, right, they're having trouble getting the comments, but they are engaging the DMs. So if you can find ways to get people to want to message you directly with really specific call to actions, kind of saying, hey, if you want more personalized help, if you want me to sit down and look over your numbers with you one-on-one, send me, DM me the word consult and I will help you and it'll be great. That sometimes can be easier than trying to get all of the engagement. Unless you're talking about something, people are really opinionated about, something kind of fun, you're posing a question, that tends to work better for getting those comments. And then shares are also now outpacing follower growth. So what that means both across industries and for you, to me, I'm like, that's a silent referral, right? If someone is sending your video to someone else, especially if it's an informational or educational video, that's someone basically being like, ooh, I thought this was good information. I'm sending it to someone I care about. So for you, that is a really small, easy referral you can be getting where you're showing up in other people's inboxes, in their text threads with their families, right? Group chats. They're saying, hey guys, I don't know if you know about this new down payment assistance program over in Kansas. I wanted to send this to the chat in case anyone found it helpful, right? So all of that is just to say, even if you're not seeing the numbers on the screen, you're like, oh, I'm not getting comments, I'm not seeing a lot of engagement. People are still seeing and absorbing your content. And we see this happen all the time where people will say, oh, I feel like no one watches my videos, but every time I go to a conference, people are like, oh, I know who you are. I see all your stuff. So this is just my little message out there to not get discouraged and to keep focusing on the results that you care most about, right? So if you care about getting those DMs, getting shares, getting business, don't focus too much on view counts and followers and what we call kind of vanity metrics. Like, don't focus on the numbers for the sake of the numbers. Focus on the result you're trying to drive. And that'll make you feel better about, okay, I know what I'm trying to accomplish and I can focus my content to make sure that's happening. Got a thumbs up from Robin. I'm glad that one resonated with you. Thanks so much. And then the other thing I'll just point out here is entertainment-led posts are generating like 13 times as much reach on Instagram and about 4 to 5 times as much reach on TikTok. So if you have a personality, if you're someone who likes doing skits, if you were a theater major in college, this is the time to pull that out. I know it's not for everyone, but it can be as simple as reenacting a client conversation. Instead of just sitting there and telling like the camera and saying, oh, I had a client call me today and here's what happened, right? That's level 1. But level 2, if you can just pretend to reenact it and just say, oh, hi, client, thanks for calling me today. What can I help you with? And then pretend to be the person and kind of do a skit like that. It feels more like watching a TV show, right? It feels more like something we want to consume and we're being entertained by because we're getting to watch it play out. I was a writer in college, right? Creative writing was my degree. And that's the biggest thing. They'd always say, show, don't tell. And this is what we're seeing with content, right? You can sit and you can tell people something till you're blue in the face. But if you can show them, if you can say, let me show you this conversation in real time and show you what this would sound like if you called me and asked the same question, that's going to feel more impactful and more emotionally resonant than just telling people, hey, don't buy a couch when you're in escrow, right? Whereas if you do a skit of somebody buying furniture without knowing and then accidentally tanking their credit utilization ratio and then not getting their loan closed on time, right? That's a lot more visceral, and that's going to help people feel like it's real. But I know that can be complicated. So let me know if there's questions about that, about skits, about trends, which we're here to help with the trends. So stick around, and we have 4 of those ready for you. So quickly getting into platform updates, we've got a few that I think are worth calling out this week. So number 1, this is another copycat feature from TikTok. So Instagram has added reposts. And what's interesting about this is it essentially means instead of sharing this post directly, right? Let's say you post something and I want to send it to a friend. Maybe instead of sending it directly, I just want to repost it so that everyone who's following me gets to see it. It's something that resonates with me. It's something I find funny. I'm going to reshare or repost it. So when you do that, what will happen is it's going to show up on a new tab underneath your profile. So now anyone who comes to your profile, if they want to, can go see the post that you've reshared to kind of get an idea of, oh, what's your personality? What type of information are you helping share and push out there? So ways you can use this to your benefit. Number 1, this is a great way to be resharing company and brand content. So if you're someone who's like, oh, my company does really great updates and I don't want to have to redo them myself, but I still want my audience to see it, hit that repost button and it takes you 2 seconds. And now, your brand announcement that's going out is attached to your profile. It's getting pushed to a lot of your followers and people who follow you and engage with you, but then it's not acting as if your account has posted it. I see that happen sometimes where a lot of people will take the brand video with someone else in it and post it on their own account to help boost visibility. But then what happens is sometimes I'm watching that going, oh, I didn't know this was this person's account. And then I realize I'm like, oh, no, wait. This is an individual person resharing a brand content. So this feature is going to be really, really helpful for that, for making it less confusing for your audience while still helping brand content gain more visibility. This would also be great to do if you have like referral partners or anyone whose content that you want to support and you want to help them push it out, but you kind of don't want to act like you're claiming it as your own. This makes sure that they still have credit. They get all the credit. Anyone watching the video is still directed to their, but you kind of get the boost of like, oh, it's like Alexis shared this video and now I'm seeing it. But maybe Shantae is the one in the video, right? So maybe it's Shantae created the video, Alexis helped boost it, and now I'm seeing, oh my gosh, Alexis liked Shantae's video. Now I want to see what's going on as part of this conversation. So that's one way to be using it. And the second way to be making sure your content is getting reposted is to try to think about how to make it shareable. So if you're thinking about, okay, local content, market updates and news, things that it's like, okay, I don't want to have to redo this video, right? Same thing that you're probably thinking. If you see a really good video, you're going, oh, that was really well done. I don't want to have to come up with my own version. I'd rather just reshare it so that my audience gets that info without me having to put the time and effort into that. So that's what the repost can be. So if you want to be thinking about that for your content, I would say look at like, okay, the top 5 coffee shops in local area. That's something that a lot of people will want to reshare that could get your name out there and will maybe say, oh, you're a local expert. And then your educational content is a good follow-up, right? So you're kind of getting that engagement, you're getting people's eyes on you, and then you're following up with other content that serves more of your business goals. So definitely local content, any like new business updates, new programs, anything interesting, relatable content, and definitely anything like topical that's more news related or something that people might want to blast out to their sphere, right? All of that's going to do really well. The next feature, this is currently in testing. So this is not out yet. You will not be able to find this in your account, but I just like to warn you that it's coming. So Instagram is also testing some new insights that could be really helpful. One is being able to see insights for videos that other people posted. So this one's really interesting to me. I'm excited to see if this actually gets pushed out or not. But essentially, they want to see, it's like if Alexis posts a video, I can see how well that video did and what, the analytics are on that. And what's interesting there is if you see someone's video who did really well, it helps you be able to see why it did well, maybe, or what people were engaging with. So I can watch Alexis's video about, maybe rates changed over the weekend, and I can see, oh, okay, this got a lot of shares. So a lot of people are finding this information valuable and sharing it. Maybe I should go make an update too. Or maybe there's a ton of comments or a lot of insights there. So it just can help you so that instead of having to always post your own content and only learn from your content, you can now learn from other people's content too, which is pretty cool. And then the second kind of wave of analytics that they're working on are getting really, really hyper specific with when viewers are liking your content and why. So they're going to show you a chart that shows you when in your video someone actually liked the video, which is really interesting and can be good for indicating, oh, this is when the value hit, right? So you want to have your hook, you want to have what's going on, but maybe someone doesn't like it until the last third of the video. You can go, oh, okay, what was it that made people want to like it right here? This is what won me that like. And then that way you can refine your content to better include more of those moments. And then the same thing for carousels, which is those multi-image posts. They're also going to break down which images got the most likes. So I will warn everyone, I'm pretty sure your first and second image will have the most likes just based on weight, right? Because they're getting viewed the most, right? They're showing up first in the feed. There's that. But it'll be really cool and interesting to see if, maybe slide 7 of 10 is the one that got a bunch of likes. Now that's the content that resonated more, and maybe you go make a follow-up video about that or a second post or something there. It just helps you kind of identify what is getting people to engage so you can incorporate more of that more easily. If we have any questions there, just let me know. And then on a slightly more negative note, the TikTok ban is back again. So essentially all they've announced is that the ban is going to be upheld. So if the deadline or some deal isn't finalized, the deadline is on September 17th. So if we don't hear any updates before then, TikTok is going to go dark again, like it did last time. If anyone remembers, it was a very chaotic 24 hours where they basically said, oh, you can't open this app in the US. And then the next day everyone opened it and they went, just kidding, we're back. So the thing I would really advise everyone focus on here, don't panic. I would say keep calm and post on. If you're already posting on TikTok, keep posting. Don't change anything. If you've been wanting to experiment on TikTok, we always say, hey, great time to just jump on, give it a try. And if it goes dark, no harm, no foul, right? But the number one thing I would, make sure you're actually doing to feel good about it is make sure anything you're posting on TikTok, you are saving so that if it does go dark, you don't lose access to a whole library of videos. And make sure you're cross-posting to other platforms. So if you have a bunch of videos on TikTok, you're like, oh yeah, I haven't really posted those anywhere else. I would start downloading those and sharing them over to other platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, maybe even LinkedIn, just to make sure that you're getting visibility other places. And then, like we said, if TikTok kind of goes dark or goes away, then you're not losing out there. But to be honest, I'm not that freaked out about this. TikTok is such a huge force in the social media world in this moment that I either think they're going to find a deal, they're going to come up with a new apps, there's going to be a copycat if they really do shut this down. TikTok is not going away fully, maybe this iteration of it, but I would just say keep doing what you're doing. If you want to try experimenting on TikTok, now's a good time to jump on, but don't stop posting. I see a lot of people go, oh, I guess I should just give up on TikTok until we see what happens. And I say milk it for everything it's worth while it's still here, and then we'll see what happens on the other side. So,
Ashley, do you think it's going to be it'll be beneficial to let people know what platforms you're on and throw your links out to the other platforms or your handles out for the other platforms on TikTok the closer we get?
Yeah, I definitely think the closer we get, it makes more sense, especially if things are kind of uncertain. We have about a month left. So if we were getting a couple weeks away and we have no updates, I would say that's a great time to start gently being like, hey, just in case TikTok goes down, follow me over here on Instagram, or hey, I have special content on my YouTube, or I share market newsletters on LinkedIn. That's another tip I would give. If you can have, which this is another level of social media, right? But if you have different value adds for each platform, that gives people a reason to follow you in more than one place, right? So if someone's like, oh, you post the same thing on every platform and I just like being on TikTok, I'm only going to consume your stuff on TikTok. But if you're like, hey, I post long form webinars over on YouTube. So if you're interested, go there. Or on LinkedIn, I have content more tailored to investors. So find me over there. That's going to make people say, oh, I don't want to be missing out on that content. I'm more likely to go follow you over there. So I always say cross-posting is great for wide exposure, but then yes, definitely also referencing the, hey, go follow me over XYZ so that you're not losing out if things go dark. And you'll see a lot of major creators did that the last time. They all did the same thing. And it was interesting to see the ones that really committed to a new platform and then decided, actually, I'm going to stick to Instagram because I feel like there's a safer bet in this instance. So You can still find whatever platform works for you. Luckily, I don't think most loan officers are highly, highly dependent on TikTok. I think that tends to be more of an experimental platform for most people. But this is why it's always great to always be saying, hey, follow me on the multiple platforms and here's what you're getting, or directing back to something like a newsletter, right? And saying, hey, sign up for my newsletter if you want more of this delivered right to your inbox. Then you're not relying on these platforms just in case something were to happen. But yeah, the whole TikTok thing, we could talk about that for a while. It's always so interesting.
It's a month away. Let's not worry about it.
Exactly. Next month problem. We'll give you an update next month. And luckily, because we do this at the beginning of the month, we'll probably have more insights on where the direction is headed. So come back next month and we'll let you know. And then the last update before we get into the trending videos is actually new from SocialCoach. So Alexis already talked about our carousel feature, how we updated that, and now it's good with auto posting for coaches. But we also made a change that hopefully makes it more convenient for you guys, which is the scheduling tool and the full platform now reflects your local time zone. So I know for a lot of people who are trying to schedule content, they were trying to do the math in their head and work out for Pacific time zone or other time zones. This way, it now reflects your local time zone and just makes it way easier so you know exactly what you're posting when, and it's not an issue. So for anyone who's logged in recently and saw that, it's a super exciting update. We're definitely very happy about it as a team, and I know a lot of our users are too. And if you're someone who isn't on the SocialCoach platform, but throughout this, you've been like, hey, this sounds kind of cool. I wonder if it's a good fit for me. Feel free to comment social and we will follow up with you and we'd be happy to give you a quick preview of the platform. But all right. Oh, and secondary announcement, we are 2 weeks out from NAMBA Connect in Orlando. So I just wanted to give a quick invite to anyone who's already going or wants to go. We have free access. It's a 3-day pass to NAMBA Connect. So if you scan this QR code or if you comment NAMBA, we'll get you the info. But this way you can get free registration. And then for any mortgage marketing executives or mortgage leaders, we are hosting an exclusive summit with 5 of the top executive marketing professionals in the industry. They're going to be showing behind the scenes strategies. They're going to be downloading their playbooks and giving them to you to walk away with from the session. It's an event created for marketers by marketers. So I'm pumped for this. I'm going to be bringing my notebook and I know I'm going to learn so much. But if you're part of a small team and you're trying to increase your impact, get more results, and you're just sitting there going, we can't increase budget and we can't increase headcount. These marketers have proven strategies that they've used with their major companies to do that. And they're here to help you and share and network and all of that. So I'm so excited. We'd love to invite you to join us. So if you're already headed out to Orlando, or if you're, hey, 2 weeks from now, I'll be there. We'd love to see you. So feel free to comment Summit for more details or scan the QR code there for registration and all of that. All right, and then we're going to wrap up with some easy trending videos to try. This is probably my favorite part of every month because I get to find fun videos that are trending and then help you guys tailor them to your niche. So let's get into the first one. So this one is a trend and it uses a sound from Simon Cowell, who I'm sure we all know, where he is kind of being a little bit, I don't know if judgy is the right word, but he's being very Simon about it, right? And I'll show you the example video first, and then we'll talk about kind of how to use this in your content. So here is the first video.
No.
Correct. Goodbye.
Oh, sorry. We'll play that again really quick because it was quick.
What do you think I'm going to say to you?
No.
Correct. Goodbye.
All right. Sorry if the audio is lagging there, but essentially he's just saying, what do you think I'm going to say to you? And then the person responds and goes, no. And he goes, correct, goodbye. So this is clearly like a clip from American Idol of some contestant. But the great way that you can be using this in your content is to use this to highlight a pain point or something that clients often do that you wish they wouldn't, right? So if you can sit there and pretend like you're on the phone and you're saying, what do you think I'm going to say to you? And you put text on screen that says, when a client XYZ, right? And then they say no, and you go, correct, goodbye. Obviously, you would never be this rude to a client, but it's a funny, humorous way to kind of highlight things that maybe feel obvious to you, but maybe aren't to a lot of your clients in a way that maybe makes them go, oh, I guess I should not be doing that. And maybe they'll follow up with you with questions. So a great way to do this. I like this example when it's saying like, can I buy a new car while I'm under contract for my home? You're like, no. Same thing. Can I go buy furniture? Like, no, all of that. So if you can think of anything there that's a pain point that you're always having to correct your clients on, or borrowers or whoever, this is a great video type to be doing that. And if you really want to get creative, I would also be curious to see how this translates to agents or referral partners, right? So if you're a loan officer, what's something that agents always call you and ask that you're like, no, I can't get this underwritten in 2 days. Bye, right? Or reverse for agents, right? What's something you're always calling your loan officer or they're calling you and you're going, yeah, there's no way, right? So there's a lot of possibilities you can do with this. It's super easy. And for filming, all you have to do is sit and lip sync while you're recording. And it's about 5 seconds. Add the text on screen and post away. And it does great. So that's trend number 1. Trend number 2, this is a bit more sentimental. It's a little more emotional. It's a really fun trend that people are saying, like, I almost forgot that this was the whole point. So this is being used a lot for scenes of like nature or like moments of triumph in your life, right? So think about, I don't know, my personal example would be like my mom and I took a once in a lifetime trip to Europe last year. And that to me was just like wow, like I almost forgot this is like the whole point of life and living, right? But this can be a really fun and easy way to translate to your business, right? This is like, I almost forgot, this is the whole point of being a loan officer, of being a real estate agent. This is why I do what I do. So what I would recommend is, instead of taking like nature scenes, is maybe take a video of a home you're showing or a client reaction, put that as the initial first clip, and then you can use the rest of the clips in the video to kind of show all the work that goes in behind the scenes, right? So kind of saying, I almost forgot this was the whole point. And you're either walking into a house, you're acting like a buyer, being like, wow, this is what you're working towards and saving for. Or, you know, you're showing the clients jumping up and down and getting excited, or you handing the keys and then being like, oh my gosh. And you can either do a compilation of a bunch of different clients, you can show one, or you can do kind of that clip, you shaking hands with somebody as you let them into their home, and then show a bunch of clips of you on the phone doing paperwork, you know, a bunch of kind of clips that you just record a couple seconds of that you can then show, here was the weeks and months of effort that I put in behind the scenes, but this is what makes it all worth it, right? This is the whole point, is the result or the final action that the clients get to benefit from. So I'll show you the quick example of the video just so you see, but this one is a bit more. So yeah, again, this was literally a 5-second clip. So it's just a quick little, oh, I almost forgot that like living in a way that makes me happy is the whole point, but it's a great message to translate to your business, to kind of say, oh, I almost forgot that the client reaction or the client sentiment or helping people get into their homes and build their lives is the whole point of what you're doing, right? So great way to promote your business using a trend in a subtle way. And it's so easy to film. So that's nice and great. Next one. This one is also super fun and easy. It's called You Look Happier. And so essentially the point of this trend is you're just recording yourself doing something where you look happy. So this could be talking on the phone, walking around, you could be on the golf course even, like it doesn't really matter what you're doing, right? But the easy part of this is everything on screen. You just put text that has in quotes as if someone's telling you, oh, you look happier. And then you put in text underneath it responding why you would feel or look happier. So it's a good way to kind of be clever. So I love this example because she says, thanks, the lockbox actually opened on the first try today. So that's relatable for real estate agents, right? To say, oh, everyone who's a real estate agent has had that experience. That's a funny way to say, oh, that makes sense why you look happier today. So for loan officers, right, there's other little small things. Thanks, my underwriter responded to my email or whatever. There's little things you can poke at in the process to kind of highlight that. Or what I would recommend is actually trying to think from the perspective of your client. I think it's fun when you can do the kind of industry specific ones, right, that speak to either your colleagues or your referral partners, but even better if you can get this to relate to your clients. So kind of saying, oh, thanks, my client's offer was finally accepted. Or saying, oh, thanks, I was able to help a buyer who thought they'd never be able to own a home close on one in 6 months, right? So if you can kind of show the results you're able to drive for your clients and how that makes you happier, that's another great message to be putting out there in an easy way. So I'll show you the video really quick so you can, again, see that kind of example. But that's it. She's just walking for literally 5 to 10 seconds. They add the text on screen and the song you can, and if you can't use the Taylor Swift song because you're a business account, I would just pick another song that feels happy and makes you excited. And there you go. That's a really nice, easy way to record a video and post it in probably 10 minutes or less. So love that one for sure. And then our final one, this is a more of that entertainment style video, right? So this is a little bit more of a skit, but it's an easy one. So if you're trying to warm up to the idea, if you're like, oh my gosh, writing out a whole script feels exhausting, this one you don't even have to talk on camera. So I tried to pick one that was really easy. So we named this one kind of like called out. And basically what it is you'll see in the sound, there's a person one who shows their friend something. And in this example, she's saying, oh, I think I want to buy this dress from Zara, right? So she shows her on the phone, like, here's what I want to buy. And then the friend kind of responds and is like, I thought you were trying to save money. And then she goes, ugh, whatever. And, it's kind of that annoying, like, ugh, you called me out. So what I would use this for in your clients is a great way, again, to kind of highlight either pain points or client things that they come to you with that you're kind of like, should you really be doing that? And then it makes them kind of go, oh yeah, okay. So kind of that, hey, look at this beautiful home on Zillow. And it's like, hey, wait, I thought you weren't approved yet or pre-approved yet. And then they go, oh yeah, you're right. Right. Or, I think I'm going to buy this couch I like that example a lot, but like the buying things in escrow, right? That's like a big mistake that we know a lot of people make. So if there's a way for you to kind of work that in a way that, again, highlights those things you don't want your clients to be doing, but in a way that makes it funny and humorous, it'll make people feel more entertained. So I'll show you the skit really fast so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. There, so you can kind of see the best part about this one, in my opinion, is she's not even really talking on camera. So she is mouthing the words, right? So you can pretend, you can kind of hold it out and say the line, but then you put music over it and text over it. So your voice isn't really part of it. So what's kind of nice about that is, even if you mess up, it doesn't really matter. So you can just kind of pretend to mouth something and say, oh, hey, look at this, and then show it. You can cut these clips together and then you just add the text on screen. So again, a little more involved on this one, but if you're trying to dip your toe into the skits or the entertainment type content, this is kind of a fun one that still isn't super involved. All right. So there we go. That is what we have for you today. Here is that 3-day free pass for anyone who missed it before. I just wanted to leave that up on screen so you guys have it. If we have any questions that we can help answer for you all today, I'd be happy to look at the chat. I'm not seeing too many come through. We got a couple shout outs, so thank you to everyone managing the chat, but I know the boot camp, we have some updates in there. And then for anyone who wants that information, you can comment boot camp. If you want information about the summit, you can comment summit. Or if you have any questions, again, we'll follow up in the comments. So just let us know, but we're here to help. I hope you found this session helpful. And as always, we are here to help. So you can follow us on social media. We do this monthly update at the first Thursday of every month. And then we have boot camp and everything else in between to keep you guys updated. So thank you all for being here, and we will see you next month.
Recording